So yesterday we discussed Redux toolkit ka query. Okay, RTK query, or we discussed what is that? How to do thunk kind of one. So the similar way, if you want to use third-party third-party library, one of the famous library people will use is thunks, uh, which is React query, a third-party library, tan stack query or React query, both are same. This is also famous query library that people uses for the API logics. Same like how we used it, Thunk, how we used RTK query. The similar way, one of the famous library people uses is this one, sir. Okay, Tanstack query, also called as React query. You can just see it how to use it. It will be good. Okay. Hmm. Okay. And along with this, did you guys did any application for React that you wanna share? I will see the link if anyone have. Initial days you used to do the links daily. Did you guys tried any link from the React.js example? If anyone have any link, please give me. Okay, Amarendra Kumar did the Redux Thunk API calls. Okay, he did the API call of usernames and he used it using Redux Thunk. Okay, when there are no errors, better you can close this too, but he just wanna show the states. That's okay. Refresh it. See, initially loading started, no error, and it displayed this. Nice, nice. If you used Redux Thunk, it would be good that Redux Thunk actually deals with this. Okay. Any other person, sir? Amarendra Kumar, you can share the code into the group. Any other person, sir? Now, out of the all, now most of the topics which are in normal React is over. Okay. People will confuse with some sort of topics like boundaries. Boundaries are not using now actually. In olden times we used to use. Okay. Or forward ref. Forward ref is also not using much, but still it has a use. So forward ref, or we have something like suspense, lazy loading, or code splitting. These all are kind of advanced topics. Ma, usually in interviews they may not ask these things. Okay. These things we are going to discuss today in a here and there. So if you guys get any doubts, also you can ask for these things. Let's start it. First, boundaries. Boundaries are actually not using. They used to be used to be used used with class components. You may see the legacy code with the class components. In the class components, actually if you see most of our course we used functional components only initial course we used class components. If you see the React official documentation also, they suggest you to use functional components. Okay, but in olden times we used to have a class components deal with life cycle methods. You remembered, instead of hooks they use life cycle methods. In that life cycle methods these boundaries are used. They boundaries, also called also called error boundaries. Error boundaries. Now the similar one to deal with these boundaries is actually the splitting, suspense. Boundaries are error boundaries are a feature in React that allows you to catch JavaScript errors. If in the component tree, anywhere in component tree. So basically what it will do, sir, if for example, if anywhere in your component tree, that means component inside component, some component tree is there, na? If anywhere some error happens, usually errors in React applies to unmount the component. That means the moment the error comes, the component will not come. Okay. So component will stop, na? That will give the user some kind of error screen, or that will give the user a blank page or unfinished loading. Instead of doing that, whenever error comes, all errors in a component tree has to be dealt before, has to be dealt by some logic. Okay, that logic is called the boundaries, the error boundaries. Error boundaries means whenever the error comes, these boundaries will deal with that. Indirectly, what we will do, we will keep one logic of error boundary, and we will keep all component tree inside that logic. It's like how you will keep it a global store. Same way, global error boundary you will place. So whole component tree will be inside that global error boundary. Automatically, if any error happens, it will go there. Did you get it, sir? Let me show it to you. Create. Till now, you guys have any doubts, sir? In any of the topic, if you have a doubt, you can ask, sir. Nalini asked RTK query. RTK query, I will show you one more time. Don't worry. Okay, Amarendra Kumar. Web workers is not the part of the React. Basically, web workers means it's like how each and every component goes into the web. Okay, it's like the crawlers kind of one. Profiler means which is a React dev tool. Profiler is not a concept of React. Like for example, if this is your React application, if you go here, inspect, you can see here profiler. This profiler will tell how this React application will load. Okay, it will load the whole profile. Like actually, here timeline profiling is not working yet. Once you had it a profile, sir, profiling is actually how the application will develop. Okay, continuous. It will give you from starting to ending complete React application, how it will do all the states and all. It will update. It will tell you. This is a basic one about profiler. See here, this one. It's not a basically a React concept. Now let's go here. Advanced. Now hmm, we can create it. Error boundary dot JSX. Okay. Now what I will do is here I will write it error boundary RAC RAC RCC React class components error boundary. Go here, import error boundary. Now see this logic. Basically, your app is inside the error boundary. The app is basically one component, which is by default, you guys already know that, right? The app is one component, sir. The app is inside the error boundary logic. That means app is the children for error boundary. Inside the app, you will keep what how many applications are there. Whole component tree is inside the app. Okay, and you are passing it through the error boundary. Now, this error boundary you did not define till now, you can define it. This error boundary deals with the errors. Like any error happens in its children. Now, children is app. App may contain the tree. Any errors happen in the children, it will have a dealing. It will deal how to deal with that. It will write it one state logic, and that state logic will update it an error, and it will show it in component did catch. Okay. So let's just develop it, sir. I think you already know. Basically, any component, any class component will have simply a basic logic of constructor with a basic logic of props. If a constructor has a props, automatically it will call super props. That means wherever it calls, first one has to be super props. Then this dot state. Did you remember our class components? The first ones it has to be. Here, state is an object. In this object, you will give how many states you want. If you want to use a functional component, usually in functional component, you don't do this error boundary logic. But if you want to do it, you will use state. Here, I will say it like something has error, which is a true. The initial value of state is true. Okay. Now, component did catch. Component did catch. Whenever component catches an error, sir, whenever component catches an error, it will displace it. Component did catch will take two things. Error and what error happened. This dot set state set state has to be an object. Set state is an object. Now it will have has error true. Let's go with initially no errors. False. And whatever the error happen, I will print it. Console.log error, comma info. Now, if any error is there that has error, if this dot state dot has error, okay, if this inside the this state dot has error is there, then immediately return. Okay, I will return the logic of div, a basic div. If this dot state dot has error, then return div. Okay, error screen. Something error happened. This is a basic example. Okay, this is not like in big applications it will done. Else return this dot props dot children. Basically, props is what it will take. Props dot children means app component only, right? Right. Sir, I didn't do anything new here, right? This is just a technique. Boundary is not like a new concept. Uh, To say it truly, like whatever the four concepts we are having it, these four are four techniques only. Okay. Boundaries is not in a new concept. Boundaries is a technique where people wrap up the whole component tree. People wrap up the whole component tree inside one boundary. And see, it's like the boundary outside how you will write it. So if any errors happens in the component, if any errors happens in the component, automatically in this boundary tree an error comes. The moment error comes, it will stop it. Okay. You will have in a class a hook, which is in a life cycle method component did catch. Component did catch automatically catch whenever error happens. Now, whenever in the component rendering, if errors happens, automatically component did catch will make it has error true. The moment has error became true, it will not do the children. It will actually show you something error happened screen. Okay. Now no errors. Is there any doubt, sir? So it's like before going into the component, they are stopping the component if any errors are happening. It. Okay. So this is just to deal. This is just to deal errors in the old legacy code base. Okay. This is called error boundaries or boundaries. Okay. If you want to use boundaries in RFC, React Functional Components, basically boundaries won't be used in RFC. But if you want to use it RFC, the better method is using with lazy loading or using with suspense. Instead of using RFC, use with suspense. Okay, because this component did catch method is there now that we don't have it in RFC, React Functional Components. Okay, instead of React Functional Component did catch, we have to use try catch methods. Okay, try and catch logic we will use. Any doubt, sir? Because see, you did not call this component did catch. By default, component did catch will be called. That is called lifecycle method. You know that, right? When a component comes to that particular life, okay, that particular life cycle, automatically it will be called. Okay, that is called component life cycle. Usually, component life cycle methods will be used with the class components. Okay, it works with the functional components also, but we won't use it. because functional component replaces with hooks. Any doubts, ma? Is it clear the component boundaries? Yeah. The next error boundaries. The next one, sir, error boundaries. The next one, forward ref. Forward ref. Now you all remembered ref, I think. Reference we used. Ref. If you remember, use ref we used to use. Okay, ref is a reference created by use ref for every element, for any element, any element to maintain its its DOM reference. If you declare an input element, sir, you will write it ref equals to something. You will create a use ref. You will give ref equals to that input element. Automatically, whenever you do something, it will update it in the DOM also. And from the DOM, we used to get the values. Did you remember the logic? We used it like using use ref. We did an uncontrolled component form, right? Whole form we did with use ref. Did you guys remember? Any doubts, sir? Did you guys remember that? Yeah. Now, sir, if you if you want to send, there isn't a problem here. If you send ref to a child component from parent component as a prop, it will not take. It will not take. Let's create it both. Let's create it here, sir. Forward ref logic. In this, I will put parent component parent.jsx. In this, I will put something called child.jsx. And in the app, I will keep this parent. Go here. Understand it, what I'm going to do. Basically, I think you guys can easily get it. Const child ref equals to use ref, and I'm created one reference. I created one reference here. Now I will pass this reference to the child. Okay. Let's pass a reference to the child. Let's put here a button. The moment a button clicks, let's put a button here. Click me. On click. Handle. Click. Okay. The moment someone clicks on this, const handle click. Okay. If someone clicks on this, then I will make it whatever the child ref dot Current means presently what it is having it. It's like the target, E dot target kind of one. Okay. And I'm making it focus. Okay. So I want to focus. If someone clicks on this button, I want the child component to get focus. Okay. And I will call the child components are here in the pair component. Child component imported. And for this child component, I am sending it sorry, ref equals to child ref. You send whatever the child reference you created using useref as a reference to the child as a prop. You send it like a prop only, na? Right or not? Now go to the child one and write it the same logic. Usually, what you will do, sir, you will write it here, const child component. Here you will write it ref, right? Now, if you write it a ref like that, now let's go here. Let's go and check it here. Here you will get an error. Functional component cannot be given refs. Okay. Attempts to access this ref will fail. Did you mean to use react dot forward ref? Are you getting my point, sir? You cannot send reference because reference is nothing but a reference to a DOM element. You cannot send directly a reference from parent component to child component as a property. Okay. Because that reference property, whatever you are sending it, it's not in your hand. It's not controlled by you, right? It's controlled by the DOM that you cannot send it. In case if you want to send it, they are only giving you send. Did you mean to use forward ref? Yes. If you write it a forward ref is a higher order component. I think in earlier classes of memo, I told you what is it mean by higher order component. Higher order component will wrap up another component inside. Okay, one component will have another component inside. It will take one component as a parameter input, and it will return. It will change whatever it is, and it will return a new component. That is called higher order component. Higher order component means basically it will take one component and as an input, and it will change it however it likes. It may change, it may not change also, but it has the capability to change, and it will return a new one. Okay, it will return a new one. This is higher order component. Higher order component will take the components and will return a new component. The best example is memo. Okay, not use memo. Memo is there. Did you remember? We used it memo whenever you are sending it back. The same way, sir, here we are using forward ref. Okay. If you use forward ref, no errors will happen, it, sir. You can see here, so many problems are happening it. Here only problem is attempts to access the ref will fail because ref is not directly written. So go here, comma, forward ref. For you can write it, you can directly import like that. You can write react dot forward ref also. Usually we write it forward ref directly. Now here, when you are declaring the child component, you should write it here forward ref, and the whole component will be inside the forward ref. Now can you see when errors happen, something error happened came, and something where the error happened inside somewhere. Inside the app, inside the parent, inside the child error happen actually. but still it came because that is the basic logic of error boundary actually. Okay. Now see now any errors. Now देखो earlier error whatever it came that ref will fail kind of error is gone. But now error is what? Forward renders functions accept exactly two parameters. What is that? Ref and props. It should take properties, it should take refs, but we take it only ref. So that is a problem. First parameter should be props. Any doubts, ma? Did you guys clear it? Do you understand? So now that ref actually you can use it. You can create it here, any reference. You can use whatever the ref you received. You can use it here, sir. In the return, I will write a basic input type equals to text. Ref equals to reference. No, instead of reference, I want it to be done. Na? So let's take it in another reference here. Const input ref equals to use ref. Now, if something automatically happens here, the ref, whatever the ref current value will be equals to, they both are equal. Okay, I'm not using any props because I'm not sending any props except the ref, basically. Something error happened. Forward ref component. Use ref is not defined. Use ref. Here, use ref. So instead of dealing every component how to handle the errors, one time you can deal it with whole errors. That's a basically error boundary. Okay. I hope you are getting it right. Now, if I click on this, what is happening? It cannot read the properties of null. What does it mean by null? Hmm, the moment you click on it, it should call the child ref. The child ref will go to the child component. Why it is thinking undefined? Go here, console, dot log child ref dot current. Okay, it is taking it as null. Why it is null? Child component loaded na? Yeah, we will see it anyway. Now, basic logic. See, the basic logic is not about focus. The basic logic is about passing the reference to the child. Whenever your parent component passing wants to pass the child component any referencer, parent component wants to pass the child component reference. Reference cannot be passed as a property. To make the reference passed as a property, child component will be wrapped inside an higher component. Child component will be wrapped inside an higher component. That higher component is called forward ref. It's like forwarding the reference. Okay, go here. Our logic. It will not take. So if you send a ref to a child component from parent component as a prop, it will not take. To to make to make child to make child use a ref send by parent, we wrap up we wrap whole child component into higher order component higher order component called forward ref forward ref. Okay, so this forward ref will allow. Any doubt, sir? No. Actually, advanced features in React are these two things: suspense and lazy loading. They were like they were implemented nicely, but still there were kind of you know uh, updations are going on between them. Like maybe React 19 will give it like more kind of flexibility with this. But basically, how this concept works, suspense is a nice concept. Suspend means imagine a file is loading. Imagine you are loading some files. It's like RTK query, or if you see React yesterday Redux queries. So what will happen if fetching is happening? Fetching means it will take some time, asynchronous. When asynchronous some operation is happening, it will take some time. Okay, and you should not put your screen idle until that time. You should show something called loading, right or not? So what you will do usually until you get the result, you will keep a loading state as true. Whenever the loading state true, you will make it one loading screen true. And whenever the loading state false, that means whenever you got the actual result, you will make this loading state false and you will show the actual screen. You got my point, sir? Now instead of doing this suspense, what it will do, suspense will make it like any component, whatever the component you want, only that component it can load. Okay, it will suspend the component loading, it will suspend the rendering of component. While you are going into an asynchronous operation, it will not load that component. It will not even load that component, and it will load some other fallback UI. Whenever your component actually has the result, only at that time, whenever it got notified, then only it will load that component. Okay, It's like if you want to components to load like that, we have use it. Actually, the use case of suspense is lazy loading or code splitting. That is the use case. Okay. Now let's see here how the suspense works. Okay. Basically, we use the suspense is a React feature which uh, which shows components to suspend while they wait for some asynchronous functions operations, such as code splitting or fetching the data. So instead of showing blank UI, suspense allows you to show fallback UI. Suspense allows you to show some fallback UI, sir. React dash query. I'm using this tank stack or React query. Just now I showed you, na. So I'm gonna use this, which is a basic one. You can version. What is this? You are looking at version 3 of the React query. Version 4 is available. Tank stack query. See, the main feature we can use it for React suspense kind of ones. Hmm. Okay, maybe they are providing so many things, router and all. Query is popular. See, we use something called use query. It's a hook. Okay, used to get the data from query. It's a simple hook. Okay, so or you can put it like query client provider to give that query data to completely whole application, whole DOM tree. It's like the same like how your content provider will work, how your route provider, browser router works, same way. Okay, install. Just some reference, ma. Whatever I'm going to do, this thing you can do it without React query or normally also normal fetch kind of things also, or normal use effect kind of one also. Okay. Now CD projects, CD advanced. suspense. Um, Data component dot JSX RAFCE. Now go to app. In the app, so basically whatever the data component we created, it will load, sir. Right? Now in this data component, I'm gonna use these things. Go to this data component here, sir. Import use use query. Okay. Earlier it used to be called as React query. Now they changed it name, I think. And in React, one feature is there, suspense. So let's do fetching, some fetching data. Const fetch data. This is an asynchronous operation. And here I will do normal fetching async await. So let's do const res equals to await some kind of fetch. Sir, to use query, not need of Redux, no need. Basically, Redux, see, this is the logic, sir. If you want to use RTK query, Redux toolkit. If you want to use Thunk or Saga, Redux. If you want to use, this is a third party. Okay, same the concept of RTK query, same the concept of Thunk. You want to manage it some kind of state logic only for the API logics. That is what the query logic comes. There are so many other third party libraries, sir. Okay, different people like to use different things. Okay, some people like to explore, but this was the popular one. Okay, some people like to combine with the Redux, which is actually good. Redux Thunk of RTK query, or separately want someone maintain it all API separately somewhere else. Okay, then Tungsten. Okay, clear my online. Now here fetch some kind of URL. Let me go and bring it some kind of URL, sir, here. See, this URL is not important to me. I'm just giving some any fake. It's not anyway, I'm not going to display the things and all that. That's not the main concept here. Okay. Now here, in case errors happens, or in case if I want to show the loading before that comes. So that's the main thing. Const data equals to res dot await res dot json. These things already we know. And here return data. Whatever the data I got it, I'm returning it. Any doubts, sir? Any doubts? Any doubts, sir? No? Now here I'm gonna use this use query, sir. Where did you use the use query? You did directly write a function. Yes. Use query is used to extract the values from a particular function. Now here I'm going to write it here. Const. I want data function. I want is it loading, or is any error is there? These kind of functions. Use query. Use query will take it two kind of options. We are not using any client here. We are using data, comma, fetch data. A callback function, which is a client. So what this will do, sir, this will only call that client, and whatever the result it comes, if any error comes, automatically it will make it is error true. If any loading happen, it will make it is loading true. If is loading means whenever the state is for example, the promise actually fetch data in the fetch, it will return actually promise. When the promise is in pending state, until that it will become is loading true. Okay, whenever the promise fulfilled, it will make it like data true. Okay, the data value it will fill. So all three things it will give you at a time. It's like each and every function has their own use ma. Okay, how to create our own API? Someone asked, sir, to create our own API, I think we did it something called JSON placeholder. Sorry, JSON server. We did a JSON server, right, in CRUD application. That is a basic fake API. But if you want to create real API on your own, that is backend is needed. Front end people, React people will not create the APIs. React people use the APIs. Backend people will create the APIs, sir. Okay. Now, anyway, let's deal with this, sir. Now here, hmm, if is loading is true, just a minute. If is loading is true or is error is true, what I can do? Return React. So they didn't give completely, they just give the fragment of how we use. This is basically what is this logic is. The suspense will load this component only if the component is ready. Else it will go for fallback. In case in the component any loading happen, any errors happen, it will go for the fallback. Okay, that is basically the suspense logic is. Okay, so let's write it here. Why it is not working? Suspense. Here we will have something suspense. Okay, now if fallback happen, you can directly write it a simple logic here. Do here something happened, so fallback. Wait. whatever. Actually, you can put anything you like, or you can put something called loading kind of one. Okay, you can put directly a loading symbol here. Loading kind of animation. Okay. No. Okay. Wrong logic. You have to keep it up inside the app. You have to keep this component here. Import the suspense. Import suspense. And here data component. Now this data component will return if data is not, if error is there, it will, if it is loading, it will return some kind of loading one. If error is there, it will return something like div error. Okay. Now, if there are no errors, if there are no loadings, if the data is there, okay, only if in the case if data is there. Now here we can do, this is the main point. Now already we are in return now. Let's print it data. Data dot map something d div. Only the title of the products will come. Okay, if the data is not there. And this is basic logic. Is query must need to give some string name data or any name? You can give any name actually. Okay. I just gave data because I never used that one. Now you can give any name basically. Let's check it. Something error happened. The above error occur in the data component. Bad argument starting with v5. Only the object form is allowed when calling the query. Now we only supports objects. No client query client set. Use query client provider to set. Why query clients provider has to be set, Ray? Are they matched? I think they changed completely. I should have used use effect only. Will it work at least now? Query key needs to be in an array if you are using it in a repo data. Please change it to an array. I think they changed the complete syntax, sir. Here, let's go here. Let's check it up this logic. Query key. Let's go here in a data. Now what happened, Ray? It is in the array. Yes. npm run dev 5173. Are they matched? Query function. Yeah, no errors. Now no errors. See, now first loading is coming and then it is coming this whole data. Okay. Now basically this can be done in multiple ways. Like the Redux Thunk also will do the same thing. But here the main point is until it loads, until this particular screen comes. Initially the loading screen comes now without using state and all. Why that loading screen is coming is this whole component, actually this whole component, it is going with this title printing, but before it is printing it here I put something called suspense. Now what this suspense will do, suspense will take this component and we will start to run the component. If the component is taking time when it is running, if the component is taking time in the running, in that particular component time it will do fallback. Whatever you write it in the fallback, it will come in that particular time. If we go here, so the fallback will run until this particular component data fetching or something asynchronous operation. If I put it like a timeout, instead of directly writing a fetching operation, if I put it in a promise of timeout for 5 seconds, until that 5 seconds wait will be there on the screen. You got my point, sir? Suspense will suspend the component to render if the component is taking any asynchronous functions. Until that time comes, it will do some fallback. It will do some time, some fallback. We will use this in, actually there is a use case named code splitting, sir. We will discuss code splitting tomorrow and we'll start our project. Okay. Code splitting or lazy loading means, what is this means? Instead of loading the whole component once, it will divide the component into multiple chunks. It will divide the code into multiple parts and it will load whatever the component needed whenever it is needed. How our logic works? See, for example, take this one. In this app, in this app, parent is needed, data component is needed. How many are there? So many are there. That many are. If 10 components are there, what your system will do? It will automatically first import the parent component. Na? Automatically import the data component. It will import all the components which are used because you globally write the import statement. Is it clear, sir? But what if, sir, whenever I'm using parent, only at that time I want to import parent. Whenever I'm using data component, only at that time import the data component. So only when you are using that component, import that instead of importing everything at once, only starting of the file. That is called lazy loading. That is called lazy loading, which we will discuss it tomorrow. Okay. Is it clear, ma? These three concepts are clear now? Okay, these were kind of advanced, but focus mainly on basics of React, hooks, and Redux. Okay, do some application. Okay, when you are free, try to do some applications from the React JS example. Okay, or GitHub, you will find so many. Okay, sir. Yeah. Online, if any doubts, you can mention it, sir. I will push the code one more. Yeah. If anyone have any doubts, please explain. Tell me. Git commit dash m date git push. Okay. Jayant, I'm not in a group. Please provide the. Yeah, what is the doubt, Jayant? Share some docs for hooks like use memo, use callback. Sir, so definition I can remember. I think in the doc main React file I gave you, in that use memo, use callback are there, I think. Or I will separately send today one doc for only hooks. Separately for hooks, I will send one doc in the group, sir. Okay. Okay, Jayant, you asked the concept of repeating ref. How it will be like, ref will take the referencer. Okay, if you write it use ref, it will create one reference, and using that reference you can update the value, you can see the value, you can delete the value. Whenever you change the state, automatically it will change the state itself because you are getting the DOM in your normal JavaScript document dot get element by id. You will write the same thing is written in react by using something called ref, use ref. Okay. Yeah. If still had any doubts today, I will share you the hooks uh, code. In that use ref also I will explain. Okay. Yeah. That's it, sir. That's it. Thank you all.